large group leaders, it's Jordan here. Just wanted to connect with you guys for a couple minutes before we get to this weekend to kind of recap on some of the tweaks and adjustments that we've recently made in kids ministry for large group and small group. So to kick that off, I'd first love to say just thank you so much for all that you do and the role that you play in our kids' lives. This wouldn't happen without you guys, and I know that you invest so much time and energy and love into what you do, and it really does make an impact with our kids and with our families. So a huge thank you from me. I get to see it as I talk to them, talk to parents, and talk to kids. They love the hour that they get to spend with us on the weekend. So it's really, really special time that y'all make come to life. So thank you for that. The next thing that I want to dig into is why we've kind of made some of the tweaks and revisions that we have over the past couple weeks to the structure of our service. And here's why. So we want to create a consistent service for every child. We want to create a consistent experience for every child, no matter what time that they attend or what building they're in, big tent or student building. We want to make sure that they're getting the same material, and that needs to consist of the content and information that you provide during large group, and then the discussion and conversation that they get to have during small group that takes that information the next step further and really helps them apply it to their life. So we found that by having small groups all together in that large worship space, you are basically taking off the pressure for the small group leader to have to watch what time it is and make sure they're getting to all the activities that they need to, without having to be a large group leader and a small group leader, right? So it's a different role. So let's talk about that relationship. So as a large group leader, you have led service the first 30 minutes as normal. You've closed in group prayer, and where you would typically dismiss and everybody would find a spot throughout the building to lead their own small group, everybody is going to stay in their circle or in their huddle in that room together. So they'll have a couple minutes to do that and get into their groups with 8 to 10 kids per small group leader, and then you're going to kick off the icebreaker. So the content that we're going to work through in that second half of service is the icebreaker, activity number 1, activity number 2, and then prayer request and closing in prayer within each small group. So to kick off the icebreaker, you'd say something like this: all right, small group leaders, you have 4 minutes to talk about our icebreaker today. I think we're looking at what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Ready, set, go. And that's all that you would do to introduce that. The next 4 minutes would then be spent within each of the individual groups talking about the icebreaker, kind of getting to know one another, introducing names and things of that nature, while you're kind of stepping back and just watching. So you're not needing to interject over the mic during that time or add in different things. Let that be quiet time where it's really just for the small group leaders to interact with their kids. And the same thing will happen for the next 3 steps as well. Once that 4 minutes is up, you jump into activity number 2 and you'd introduce it like this. That sounded like so much fun. I think we're ready for activity number 1. Here we go. Ready, set, go. And that's it. So at that point, the small group leader then takes ownership of that conversation. And here's why. During small groups, again, that is a dialogue. So the kids then share things about their lives and what's going on with their week and concerns they may have, prayer requests they may have, and we want to make sure that that time is protected for them. It's really important that they get the information that you share during large group, and then we get to talk about, but what does that mean for me in a more personal setting in their small group? So we want to make sure that that time is still owned by the small group leader, where they're able to have those discussions with their kiddos, and you're really just watching the time. So during that 8 minutes or 7-9 minutes, it'll all be on your script of exactly what time allotment each activity is going to get. So according to whatever that said, once that time has finished up, then you'll introduce activity number 2. And so you would say something like this: small group leaders, it's now time to dig into activity number 2. Ready, set, go. And we're really kind of introducing this team feeling. So the ready, set, go, creating energy and excitement in the room, and then have the next 8 minutes or so, depending on what your instruction was on your notes, to dig into activity number 2. So once activity number 2 has wrapped up, the final thing that they're going to be doing is talking about prayer requests and then doing individual prayer per small group. So then you would introduce this like that. All right, everybody, that sounded like so much fun. I love all the laughter. Let's go ahead and talk about prayer requests in your group and close in prayer. And then you would give them the next 4 minutes or whatever amount of time was designated for that in your notes to have prayer request discussion, talk about celebrations, talk about things that they need to talk about that they're struggling with, anything like that. They can have personal time with their group and with their small group leader to do that. Then they're going to close in prayer and dismiss back to the dismissal areas for pickup. So that's what the role will look like. It doesn't change the job description, if you will, of the small group leader. They're still doing the same thing. It really just changes how we sit together and what our interaction looks like. So I appreciate your flexibility for this. I'm so excited for what it's going to do for our kids. I think that they really feel each other's energy and get excited about that when they're all in the room together. And I appreciate you being a leader and kind of guiding this as we introduce it through our curriculum. So I'll see you this weekend. If there's anything that I can do or any questions that I can answer, let me know. I'll be here, but see you soon. Bye.